It's dark outside and I've been up in this bitch getting fried. Welcome back to Bestie After Dark, where I tell your worst or most interesting dating, bedroom, and romance storytime submissions. If you would like to get your story to me, please visit ycbestie.com/bad, all lowercase, to fill out my form. If you would like to watch all of Bestie After Dark all at once, you can subscribe on my website, ycbestie.com, for early access on Saturdays and to support me as a creator, which I greatly, greatly appreciate. Or you can visit my YouTube at ycbestie on Mondays. Bestie After Dark is also available for podcast streaming on all major podcast platforms. And it's been a while since I mentioned this, so I just wanted to remind everyone that while my queue for Bestie After Dark does fill up with stories, which I'm extremely grateful for, if you want to guarantee that your story is 100% going to be read on the next episode, the very next one the following week, you have the option to pay to either boost your story or to guarantee your story time slot. What does that mean and what is the difference? For $2, you can boost your story in my queue, which gets it into an earlier batch. I actually review those boosted stories personally and decide whether or not I would like to proceed with them. A guaranteed storytime submission slot costs $20, and it is a 100% assured promise your story is going to be read the next week. Okay? In the event that one day I get a guaranteed story slot that is so just like inappropriate or out there or whatever, I'll refund you. We'll chit chat about it. But as of right now, if you want to drive the boat, all it costs is $20 on the website. The title of your After Dark story time is I Still Can't Believe He Was For Real. Okay, so back at the beginning of what became me being trapped in the worst abusive love triangle for 3 years of my high school career, things had hit third base previously, and this man who I legit called the Rat Man, which always throws me for a loop when you mention the Frat Man, that's my boyfriend's nickname. Those days had finally had the stars align for us in our early high school horn dog selves. My mother allowed him over and left us alone in the basement because I had told her that I wanted to show him a movie that we considered a family classic. He paid very little attention to it, but it genuinely is a favorite of mine, so I kept getting distracted at first. I don't know if you can mention copywritten content on here, so I'll just say it involves the Muppets, a British glam rock star, and so many good one-liners and an obscene bulge for what was marketed as a children's movie. Anyways, we get down to it, and I finally get the chance to lose my V card for real in a dim basement room on the carpet under a blanket with my mother audibly washing dishes one floor above us and David Bowie singing to a teen girl in her weird dream caused by Peach. It was fine, I guess. Nothing spectacular, but he was of a good size and did at least give a nod at my own big O. So, what more could a sophomore geek really hope for? Anyway, the absolute shocking moment would not come until afterwards. We wrapped up, and I made my obligatory foray to the restroom to avoid any UTIs because even then, I knew not to fuck around with my downstairs health. So I take care of that. I come back out of the basement, playroom/den, and what does this man, who is currently at least 2 inches shorter than me and would literally become the most whipped in the worst way in years to come, hand me? A sheet of paper that he had taken off my desk, emblazoned with a giant V and the words property of and his full government name written above and below it, beaming with pride. I asked him why, and he said, because you were my first. I shudder to even say this phrase because it became a regular compliment for years to come. Sweet, sweet, and just stared at me, waiting for me to react. I had never felt more lost as an eventually diagnosed autistic adult before this, and I ended up kissing him on the cheek and tucking it into a file holder on my desk. I would leave it there, lost to the ages, until the summer after my freshman year at college when my mom made me clear off my childhood desk, at which point I sent a snap to my besties, hysterically laughing, and I promptly burned it in the backyard afterwards. I truly have no idea how I let such a fucking abhorrent specimen of a boy screw me over for the last 3 years, but at least now his dumbass nerdy choice will be on the internet for people's amusement forever, and I'm doing fine while his engagement to the girl he tortured me with for all of high school has now failed spectacularly, and he is now a DC alcoholic opera who has been trying to find love through doing it, still because he has literally nothing else better to do. Pathetic. Thank you so much for sending me your story, babe. I'm glad I could air it out to the world. The title of your After Dark story time is One Punch Man. Anyways, so I used to be so in love with this boy that I met like my senior year and I dated into college. I'll call him Finn. I thought he was gorgeous, but also he had like 9 inches thick and he was an eater. So obviously I was fucking feral for him when I was 19. I had lived with my best friend Ray senior year / before college, but Ray was never home. So I got pretty close to her sister Anna, who was like 15. Well, Anna got out of the mental hospital and decided to have Finn, who I knew that she had a crush on, but like, whatever, you're a kid, right? No, Anna told my Finn I was cheating on him at college. Wasn't. And he did her multiple times. I found out because she was texting him while we were doing it in my family's restaurant where he and I both work. So obviously, I was like ready to off both of these fuckers for real. Like I was about to have a fucking psychotic break. So I had to get my lick back. Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of different levels to this shit, but at the very least, like, your boyfriend cheated on you with a fucking kid, bro. You deserve to have a psychotic break over that. I mean, how do I say this? I know who submitted this. Like we don't know each other, but we know each other. You and I were definitely little bitches once, right? Devious little bitches. That doesn't make the situations that we found ourselves in any better, right? There are obviously other participants. There are other people who should have been of better, sounder mind that weren't. Okay, so it does go both ways. You submitted this story a long time ago, but I just wanted to clarify. I know that you're mad as hell at that girl, but she's still a girl. And we can absolutely agree on that. Were you and I both devious as fuck, evil as hell at that age? Yeah. But it came from somewhere. It absolutely did. It came from all of the adult situations that we continue to find ourselves in. I had to get my lick back. Finn had one of his best friends, Jack, who was over all of the time, hung out with his dad without Finn, went to NHL games together even, just mad close with his dad. And because Finn and Jack went to preschool together, they stayed best friends ever since. I knew that Jack was into me, and Jack knew Finn had done me so dirty, so now was his chance. We started hooking up on and off from like 2018 to 19 until like last year, 2024, whenever I was in his city. But when I started hooking up with Jack, he went to a different state, like on a work trip with his dad. They were at a party and some drunk guy tried to hit Jack's dad in the head with a beer bottle, so Jack swung around his dad and caught the guy in the temple. Jack is like 6'4", probably 300 plus pounds at that point. So that literally one hit took that guy out. Damn. He just went down and he never came back up. Jack hired one of the best lawyers in the game who happened to be Finn's next door neighbor growing up, so they all know each other. And the thing that made this extra devious was I made sure Jack and I denied hooking up to Finn every time that he would ask. Until last year, when Jack pissed me off so bad that I told Finn and then I dipped. LOL. But like, he couldn't just ask Jack because it would probably start a fight and he could maybe, if they got into it, Finn's parents would not talk to Jack anymore since like 2020 though. So it's pretty widely assumed that that's what happened. As a fun fact though, I did go through a hoe phase where I was hooking up with 3 guys named Jack all at the same time. So we call it my Jack era. Anyways, I don't care if you read this on Bestie After Dark or not. I changed the names to make it easier if you do. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. There is nothing worse than getting to the end of a good ass story and it's like, please change all the names in this. Girl, what if you did that? Or like, I don't know, made that your first sentence. And I'm not a good storyteller, so my bad. No, you did great. You did great. Okay, there will be a few cuts in here, but you did amazing, friend. Loved it. The title of your After Dark story time is Still Can't Believe That He Dumped Me. So I graduated high school and then moved in this story. So give me some grace. So I met this guy on Tinder, and he was the most attractive man that I had ever seen. To be honest, we were such a cute couple. I met his mom, he met mine. Everything was dandy. Then fast forward a couple months. Boyfriend and I are in the bedroom laughing, having a good time, when all of the sudden the tension gets a little spicy, but I wasn't feeling it that day, so I tried to shut it down in a roundabout way and said, I'm only going to do it with you if I can put it in you. And he said, yes. Well, what was I supposed to do? Just sit there like an idiot? No. So obviously, I pull out my toy and I did it, but like, what? And at this point, I was having real feelings for this man. So I was a whole different type of conflicted. Like, I mean, I said I would do it and I like him as a person. Maybe it's just a one time thing. Spoiler alert, it was not just a one time thing. He genuinely could not get it up anymore if I wouldn't do this for him, which literally dried me right up. Then he broke up with me over text, and you would think that that was the end, but it's not. And I said, no judging. Well, he texted me probably a day later or a few days later, and he asked me if I would put it up the back door one more time. And one more time, I did. Why did I do what I did? I don't know. Why was he like that? I don't know. Is he gay? Maybe. I don't know. Happy Pride Month to that man. Okay. But honestly, like their special spot is up there. Okay. I don't know. The difference is, the differential is in the gay community, my understanding is like for gay men that like prep and hygiene surrounding avoiding like painting is a very big deal, is a very like it's a thing. I think the gay men kind of keep the douche industry in business, low key, is also my understanding. Right. And I actually saw a video like last night on just like social media doom scrolling, where it was this gym bro who had asked his brother like or asked his brother how often he has shit stains in his pants or something, or said something to him about him having shit stains, and his brother was like, what the fuck, that's disgusting, you're gross. And so this guy went to the gym and he was asking like all the other guys at his gym, like, do you ever have skid marks? Do you ever get like shit stains in your underwear? And basically, all but like two of them said yes. They were like, oh, yeah, all the time. Like, that's just normal. That's just part of being alive. So I don't know. That's kind of my 2 cents when it comes to things like this, is that, like, I don't think that there's anything weird or wrong about like backdoor stuff with the straight guys. What I do think is you should throw that toy away. Thanks. The title of your After Dark story time is Persian Poop Pee Pee. Hey bestie, I was dating a Persian man for a few months who was supposedly a licensed ER doc in Tehran, but never finished his studies to become a doctor in the US. He was the first man that I was with after an 18-month celibacy stint after a terribly abusive long-term relationship. So the Persian man's lack of ambition beyond winning the lottery to immigrate to the US didn't really faze me. He lived in basically a college student apartment building, yet was maybe 30 or something. I was 29. Strange things about him. He would stop while doing it to wipe off his wiener, because he said it got too wet. He wouldn't go downstairs on me, but wanted me to be fully clean shaven. Sorry, bro. I'm proud that I have a flaming bush and I'm not a child. He also enjoyed giving the back door, and I really enjoy receiving the back door. I know how to prep for the least messy experience and all of that. And well, things weren't going great with the Persian man, but he was charming and hot and mostly very good in bed. So, whatever, I didn't care much. I was just living my life. I go to a metal show with my male bestie, and I start getting texts from the Persian man all night long that he's wanting to get physical, and I say, cool, but he says he only wants the back door. Well, I finally feel like the powerful bad bitch that I am. He's been irritating me for a few weeks to the point that after drinking beer at a metal show, my back door felt a little full. I didn't have time or a desire to properly prepare, and I may have been on my period. It's been over 10 years since this encounter, so I don't exactly remember, and my brain is still in trauma mode and not recording much. So I told the Persian man, bet. I'll come over and my back door is yours, with an evil grin because I knew it would not be a clean experience. Well, it wasn't, and he was big mad. I just laughed at the entire shitty situation. I think I still dated him for a few more weeks. It was only because I liked having an unlicensed doctor on call. It came in handy when I stepped on glass and he pulled it out of my foot and gave me some antibiotics. How did he even get you those antibiotics, girl? Oh. The title of your After Dark story time is Pogo the Clown. Hey, Bestie, I have an extra bad, but also crazy and kind of funny story. So, my ex was a piece of shit and crazy. He was super mentally abusive, which led to physical abuse, manipulation, and just complete psychopathy. He lied and manipulated his way out of therapy twice. He was also an alcoholic. He got me into a lot of things and situations that were not good, to say the least. We were together for 2.5 years in total, and at about the 2 year mark, he put his hands on me for the first and second time. The second time, he had a whole mental breakdown and he got on his motorcycle and took off. He spent his entire paycheck at the bar in like 2 hours and he messaged me that if I pass tonight, it's your fault. Then he got on his motorcycle up to like 90 miles per hour and went straight into the back of a stopped vehicle on the highway because of construction. Whether it was an accident or not is not confirmed, but we can assume. Anyways, he didn't pass, but he did have a leg amputated. After the month that he was in the hospital, I let him come back for a bit because I felt bad and I was young and dumb. He started going crazy again, though, so we broke up. A lot happened over the next like 2.5 years, but fast forward, I was in desperate need of a roommate. And he was desperately trying to get out of his roommate's house, so I let him come back under the condition that we were only roommates. Of course, it didn't stay like that. He immediately wanted to sleep in bed with me and then hook up and then start acting like we were back together, no matter how many times I told him that we weren't. Now, because he was moving in, I had bought and set up security cameras throughout the house. He worked different shifts than I did, so he was always home while I was working. And one day, I get a notification on my bedroom camera. I check it, and this man is on my bed, legs in the air, using one of my toys on himself. So naturally, I'm like, what the fuck? He's watching videos on my TV from his phone. So I message him and I see it pop up on the TV. He ignores me. So I leave work early. I come home an hour and a half later to see him still going at it. An argument ensues. The toy is disposed of, and I tell him, do not do that again. Then I catch him again a week and a half later. The same day, I catch him doing things of substance. And this all happened like 3 months after moving in. In month 4, we get into a huge fight because he kept saying that he loved me and wanting me back. And I kept laughing in his face, telling him that I don't love him. He starts to get violent and I leave the house to go to a friend's. Then he disconnects all of my cameras except the one that he couldn't reach. It faced my front porch through a window, so I couldn't see anything, but I could hear him destroying my house. So I rush home. I find my home completely torn apart and him in the back room shoving my niece's big ass heavy crib in the hallway. Of course, we start fighting and arguing, and things get really physical to the point I had to call the police and he was arrested. Later that day, my sister came over to help me clean up everything and pack his shit to put it outside. And I find one of my laundry baskets being used to hold his duffel bag, and some things are rustling around in the bottom. I moved the bag, and this man stole a bunch of my toys and was trying to hide them in his stuff. I also found other things that he bought for himself as well that I didn't know about. So when I was putting his stuff on the porch for his sister to come pick up, I damn sure made sure all of it was sitting right on top in the open, which would be very embarrassing for him because he himself was extremely homophobic. It's been over 2 years now, and I still have a little less than a year on the PFA and no contact order, but last I heard, he is back in jail for a third DUI. And I also heard that a bunch of guys in the jail stole his prosthetic leg and beat him with it. Since that incident, everyone has called him Pogo the Clown because he is the pogo stick version of a human and a fucking joke. Much love. God damn. The title of your After Dark story time is Pregnant Birthday Three-Way. I'm not sure how to start this without just diving straight in, so here we go. On my 21st birthday, my at-the-time boyfriend, Caden, had to work and was supposed to come straight home after, as I was 8.5 months pregnant and it was my 21st birthday. Instead of doing that, he decided to ignore all my texts and calls, go to the bar, get shit-faced, come home, and scream happy birthday in my face. And then he decided to yell for our roommate Elizabeth and initiated what had to be the worst three-way ever. We did both fool around with her a few times separately, but I had never done a three-way before, so I didn't know what to do in this situation. And this man just kind of took turns on top of each of us. And at one point, when he was on her, I decided I was bored and I just left. I was nice enough to grab her a towel though, because he was starting to sweat. Afterwards, I guess she felt bad because she went and got me an ice cream cake and sang me happy birthday. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. The title of your After Dark story time is Dancing with Danger. So, when I was in college, a guy friend of mine got me to go on an adventure with him. He was convinced his boyfriend was cheating with some clients from his job. I was young and dumb and I had nothing else to do, so I went along for the ride. We pull up at a male dance club, and it turns out the boyfriend is pretty good with different kinds of poles. We roll in, get settled, and I get introduced to a few of the guys that work there that are friends with the boyfriend. One of them keeps chatting me up and eventually leads me away from the table. Again, I am young and dumb for a private dance. He was hot, the dance was free, and I was out of my element, but I was having a good time. Then he leads me behind a massive tub of rubbers. He's kissing me on my neck and trying to get me in the mood, but I'm just not feeling it. I have to physically push at his shoulders to get him to lay off and take me back to the table. He leads me straight past it into the coat check. He grabs his jacket, throws it around my shoulders, and holds the door open for us to leave. I'm looking at him like he's crazy. He's not answering my questions. He just keeps saying, "Let me show you something real quick." He walks me outside of the club and shows me his car parked at the side of the building. It's one of those weirdly discreet cop cars. He then reaches into the pocket of his jacket that I'm wearing and flashes me his badge. Man, this was a whole officer, and he would come and work at the bar or act as a bouncer during his off hours. He walks me back into the club and back to my friend, and the first thing he says is, "Where did you go? I didn't even see you leave the table." Anyways, the cop gave me his number on a piece of paper before we left, and I threw it out of the window. Yes, the boyfriend was cheating with people that he would meet at the club, by the way. That friend of mine also got busted by the FBI in a sting a few years back, so I dodged multiple bullets that night. Good God. Yeah, you did. You did. You did. The friend got caught doing the word for when there's a bunch of cars all in one area at once and they're not moving very fast. You know where I'm coming from? Yeah. God damn.